Hello and welcome to our video on the Age of Exploration. This was a time in history when explorers set out on long and dangerous journeys across the seas in search of new lands, wealth, and adventure. Today, we'll take a closer look at this fascinating era and the people and events that shaped it. The Age of Explorations was a time of great curiosity and ambition for European powers, particularly Portugal, Spain, England, and France. During this period, European explorers sought new sea routes to trade with Asia, bypassing the Ottoman Empire and the Arab traders who controlled the existing land routes. Additionally, they also sought new lands to claim and colonize, and spread their religious and cultural influence. This era of exploration was made possible by advancements in navigation technology, such as the invention of the astrolabe and compass, and the development of shipbuilding techniques that allowed for faster and more reliable travel on the open sea. The early explorers faced many challenges and dangers, including the threat of shipwrecks, disease, and hostile encounters with native populations. One of the first major voyages of exploration were undertaken by Portuguese explorers, including Vasco da Gama, who sailed around the southern tip of Africa to reach India in 1498, and Bartolomeu Dias, who became the first European to reach the southernmost tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope. As European explorers continued to sail the seas, they encountered diverse cultures and societies, sometimes leading to the establishment of trade relationships, and other times to violent conflict and colonization. The Age of Exploration ultimately led to the establishment of vast colonial empires, the spread of Christianity, and the forced displacement and enslavement of millions of indigenous peoples. Despite the many negative consequences of European colonization, the Age of Exploration also brought about a new era of global trade, cultural exchange, and scientific discovery. The main motives of explorers. The Age of Exploration was characterized by a thirst for discovery and exploration that had been building up among Europeans for centuries. Europeans were motivated by various factors, including economic and religious motivations. Economic incentives such as the quest for new trade routes and markets, the desire for valuable resources like spices, gold, and silver, and the establishment of colonies to provide raw materials for manufacturing industries, were major drivers of exploration. In addition, there was a strong religious motivation for exploration. During the 15th century, Europeans saw themselves as Christian crusaders and believed it was their duty to spread Christianity to other parts of the world. European monarchs and the Church viewed exploration as a way to convert non-Christians and establish Catholicism as the dominant religion around the world. Curiosity and a thirst for knowledge also played a role in the Age of Exploration. Europeans were fascinated by the unknown world beyond their continent and wanted to explore and learn about other cultures and civilizations. They were interested in geography, astronomy, and natural science and sought to expand their knowledge of the world. These factors, combined with technological advancements such as improved shipbuilding techniques and navigational instruments, paved the way for a new era of exploration and discovery. The most significant voyages of the age. The Age of Exploration saw a flurry of voyages undertaken by European explorers in their quest to discover new lands and sea routes to Asia, Africa, and the Americas. One of the most significant voyages was Christopher Columbus' journey to the Americas in 1492. Funded by the Spanish monarchs, Columbus set sail with 3 ships, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, in search of a new trade route to Asia. However, he ended up discovering the Caribbean islands and South America, which would eventually lead to the colonization of the New World. Another important voyage was Vasco da Gama's journey to India in 1498. Portugal, seeking to bypass the Muslim-controlled land routes to Asia, sponsored Gama's expedition to find a sea route to India. After navigating around the southern tip of Africa, he arrived in Calicut, India, and established a profitable trade route for Portugal with the Far East. Ferdinand Magellan's voyage from 1519 to 1522 is also significant. Magellan, a Portuguese explorer sailing for the Spanish, set out to find a westward sea route to the Spice Islands. His expedition was the first to circumnavigate the globe, although he did not complete the journey himself. Magellan died in the Philippines, but his crew continued the voyage and returned to Spain in 1522. These voyages, along with many others during the Age of Explorations, opened up new trade routes, led to the discovery of new lands and cultures, and contributed to the growing wealth and power of European nations. Negative consequences. During the Age of Exploration, European powers imposed their influence on lands and peoples that were previously unknown to them, leading to a number of negative consequences. One of the most significant of these was the forced labor and exploitation of indigenous peoples. European colonizers often used slavery and indentured servitude to build their colonies and extract resources, leading to the suffering and death of countless native peoples. Another negative consequence was the spread of diseases that devastated indigenous populations. Europeans brought with them diseases such as smallpox, measles, and influenza, to which native peoples had no immunity. This led to catastrophic population declines and the loss of traditional knowledge and culture. Additionally, the European colonization of the Americas and other parts of the world often involved the destruction of traditional cultures and ways of life. Native peoples were often forced to adopt European customs, religions, and languages, leading to the loss of unique cultural practices and traditions. In some cases, entire populations were wiped out or pushed to the brink of extinction. Impact of the Age on the world. The Age of Exploration had a significant impact on world history, especially in the economic, cultural, and social aspects. European powers established colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia, exploiting their resources and imposing their political systems on the native populations. This led to the formation of global trade networks that connected Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The wealth that flowed from the colonies to Europe helped to finance the Industrial Revolution, which transformed the economies and societies of Europe and North America. The Age of Exploration also led to the spread of Christianity and European culture to other parts of the world. Missionaries and traders carried their beliefs, languages, customs, and technologies to distant lands, which led to the adoption of European languages, religions, and lifestyles by the native populations. The interaction between Europeans and non-Europeans also led to the exchange of ideas, goods, and technologies, such as the introduction of firearms, spices, and new crops to Europe, and the transfer of paper-making, printing, and gunpowder technologies from China to Europe. The Age of Exploration also had a significant impact on the social and political structures of the European powers. The wealth and power gained from overseas territories contributed to the growth of absolute monarchies, such as Spain and Portugal, and the development of modern nation-states, such as England and France. The competition for colonies and resources led to conflicts between European powers, such as the 7 Years' War and the scramble for Africa, which had far-reaching consequences for the balance of power in Europe and the world. Overall, the Age of Exploration laid the foundations for modern globalization, shaping the political, economic, cultural, and social landscapes of the world. Its impact can be seen in the legacy of colonialism, the diversity of world cultures, the growth of international trade and finance, and the emergence of new political and economic powers beyond Europe.